Asia. While China remains one of the ASEAN's top trading partners, the GCC nations have become major investors, energy suppliers, and partners in food security, logistics, and Islamic finance. Together, this triangle allows for diversified and stable trade routes, multilateral cooperation in green energy and digital innovation, greater resilience against global economic shifts. And at the 2025 summit, discussions involving GCC and China with ASEAN's emphasis on the joint infrastructure, investment in high-tech industries, financial cooperation, and this trilateral framework helps accelerate ASEAN's ambition to become hub of economic integration and technological advancement.
And as we look toward the upcoming ASEAN GCC China Economic Forum, the optimism runs high. There is clear intent to deepen infrastructure investment, digital economy partnerships, and green energy initiatives. With ASEAN once seen as a rising region, it is now undeniably a central player in the global economic discourse. Now, this is where diplomacy meets design, where policy becomes progress, and where nations do not merely exchange words, but they do exchange hope, opportunity, and ingenuity. Under Malaysia's stewardship, the 46th ASEAN Summit reflects a very huge commitment to bold, inclusive, and forward looking action. As the city of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, plays host to this confluence of leadership and vision, it also becomes a launchpad for the innovations that will touch industries, uplift communities, and drive Asia's collective rise in a rapidly shifting world, whether in artificial intelligence, AI, to green energy, trade facilitation, to even digital finance. The spirit of ASEAN is not just to adapt the future, but to co create it together.
And China's involvement alongside GCC leaders at the ASEAN summit also highlights a diplomatic balancing act. ASEAN upholds its centrality by engaging both China and the Gulf as partners, not competitors, in addressing challenges like South China Sea stability, regional maritime security, and disaster response and humanitarian coordination. And this inclusive diplomatic posture positions ASEAN as a neutral, convening power in global affairs. The interaction between ASEAN, GCC, and China reflects a growing global South alliance. These regions, rich in culture, resources, and human capital, are showing the world how non Western cooperation can thrive through mutual respect, sovereignty, and shared development goals. The ASEAN Summit 2025 has become a strategic arena where ASEAN, GCC, and China are not just participating, they are co creating a new regional order.
Your Highness, delegates, head of states, heads of government, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment that reflects the ever deepening ties between ASEAN and one of its most significant dialogue partners. As the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim,
Announcing the
extends a
arrival
heartfelt
of His
welcome to
Excellency
His Excellency, the Head of Government of the People's Republic of China, Premier of the People's Republic of China, His Excellency.
And here comes the motorcade carrying His Excellency, the Premier of People Republic of China, Chiang, a statesman who has been central in directing China's domestic reforms and international partnerships. His attendance today is symbolic of China's strategy, important and toward multilateral engagement that spans continents.
With China's presence at the 46th ASEAN Summit, it signifies a huge partnership rooted in mutual respect, strategic cooperation, and a forward looking agenda. From trade, technology, to cultural exchange and climate action, ASEAN and China continue to chart new paths of collaboration that will benefit to the wider global community. Now, as the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, engages with his Chinese counterpart, we are witnessing a meeting of two regional anchors, nations that understand the value of dialogue, stability, and multilateralism in an increasingly interconnected world. But under Malaysia's chairman and with the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on ASEAN 2045 in focus, this summit becomes not just a convergence of leaders, but a confluence of ideas, values, and vision. A moment indeed where history and future walk side by side.
Relationship between the Malaysian Prime Minister and the Premier of the Republic of China marks not only the strengthening of Malaysia-China bilateral ties, but also China's growing trilateral agreement and engagement with ASEAN and the GCC. With regional cooperation evolving rapidly in the post-pandemic era, this gesture signals a wider alignment of interests from economic integration to security, energy, and digital infrastructure.
As the rhythm of footsteps echo across this dignified evening, the arrival of ASEAN's heads of state, the government signals more than protocol. It is actually a powerful reflection of a regional family bound by shared history, mutual respect, and collective resolve. For each leader who steps into the summit brings their voice to the people, the weight of their hopes, and an overall commitment to a future not built on isolation, but in unity. We're welcoming the presence of all ASEAN leaders from all over the world to the mainland, from vibrant metropolis to rich cultural healthlands. Each one a steward of ASEAN's enduring promise of peace, stability, and growth. Now, this year, we're opening arms to all the historic milestone, continued integration of whose heads of government joining us today with a spirit of renewal and resilience of a young democracy forging in the ASEAN path.
For ASEAN Summit 2025, Summit reinforced ASEAN's centrality as the core of peace and stability in the region. With all 10 member states and Timor-Leste, the summit showcased strong political will to address regional challenges together, from climate change to maritime security and economic resilience. ASEAN 2025 focused on trade and investment integration, progress toward the ASEAN Economic Community, expansion of infrastructure, green energy, and digital economy partnerships. Deals were signed, new initiatives were launched, investment pipelines strengthened, and high-level dialogues elevated ASEAN's global role. The summit fostered collaboration in food and energy security, positioning ASEAN as a trusted global player. People to people and cultural exchange. Those were the initiatives that were introduced to expand educational mobility, tourism recovery, youth, sports, and cultural programs, and this strengthens regional identity and promotes deeper social and cultural bonds among ASEAN nations.
And this is a symbol of continuity and coordination between all the leaders, the voice that carries ASEAN's vision between summits to the heartbeat of our regional machinery. And representing the collective strength of the Gulf, the Secretary General of the GCC, a testament to the evolving and enriched ties between Southeast Asia and the Arab world, bound by common values and shared aspirations. Together, this gathering embodies a rare harmony of East and West, tradition and innovation, diplomacy and development. With every dialogue today plants a seed for tomorrow's transformation, and every handshake reaffirms the bridges we've built and the ones we are yet to cross. Let this be a reflection and to resolve, because in every milestone we mark, every partnership we strengthen, we are shaping the next chapter of regional and the global innovation for our people, for all of us, and for the next generations to come.
And this summit Though formerly ASEAN GCC in structure, now takes on a broader scope with China's involvement, a quiet but profound signal that regionalism today cannot exist in silos. ASEAN is China's largest trading partner, and the GCC, rich in energy and capital, is an increasingly vital partner with China. The convergence of these three blocs points to a multipolar global order defined by connectivity, economic diversification, and diplomatic agility. And China's involvement is expected to complement the goals of ASEAN and GCC member states. In fact, trilateral cooperation is already emerging in sectors such as green energy transition, port and maritime development, halal economy, Islamic finance, and digital infrastructure, all of which are focal points of today's summit discussions.
Malaysia as the host extends not just on hospitality, but a massive hope, hoping that the summit becomes a catalyst for a meaningful progress, hoping that policies being discussed today or yesterday in this rooms translate into impactful action, and hoping that the relationships for today become the real foundations of an even more prosperous tomorrow for the future of all of us. From the corridors of the diplomacy to the streets of our cities, to the halls and rural communities, the decision made here will shape lives across ASEAN and beyond, and together we can make it.
And we are now in anticipation as the hall fills with dignitaries and high level officials waiting for the ASEAN GCC China session to officially commence. This is one of the most highly anticipated segments of the summit, bringing together three major regional powers under one strategic platform. The upcoming discussions are expected to deepen economic and political collaboration, enhance interregional connectivity, and lay the groundwork for a more resilient, inclusive, and cooperative Asia Middle East partnership. As delegates take their final positions and the stage is set, this session marks a significant milestone in shaping future global alignments and shared prosperity. And stay with us as we bring you updates from this historic moment.
With the ASEAN Summit 2025, we're focusing to economic integration, the crisis in Myanmar, to the South China Sea disputes, and the external partnerships, where a significant focus was on addressing the impact of various tariff hikes. Now, from the regional supply chains to expanding digital connectivity, and from enhancing educational exchange to pioneering sustainable development, each walk to partnership forging at the summit becomes the cornerstone of tomorrow's breakthrough. And this is where diplomacy meets design, and this is where policy becomes progress, and we are the witnesses for today's event.
And now, in a moment filled with symbolism and significance, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim enters the hall, walking alongside leaders from ASEAN, GCC, and China. Their united entrance reflects the growing synergy between these powerful regions, a collective stride toward deeper cooperation, mutual respect, and a shared global vision. The atmosphere is one of the focus and anticipation as these leaders take their places, ready to engage in dialogue that could shape the direction of interregional partnerships for years to come.
And as the Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim engages with the Chinese counterpart, we are witnessing a photography session between all regions, nations that understand the value of dialogue, togetherness, stability, commitment, communication in an increasingly interconnected world where conversations are being met.
As the leaders gather for the official photo session, a powerful symbol of strategic alignment, Let's acknowledge that this is more than a ceremonial summit. This is a forum that is quietly shaping the future landscape of
Excellencies,
global
can we have
cooperation.
the first photo? Allow me to count in three, two, one. And now the ASEAN way, right hand over the left. Allow me to count once again. In three, two, one. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
There is more than ceremonial, symbolizes solidarity, mutual respect, and shared responsibility among ASEAN member states and their partners.
Now, the ASEAN summit this year marks a defining moment in trade diplomacy. With global economic realignment underway, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and his counterparts and all leaders are exploring for deeper trade integration, connections to across economy, manufacturing, and regional supply chains. And today, we are witnessing ASEAN.
With all heads of state and government are now here, including China, the summit officially begins. We now await the keynote remarks that will set the tone for this historic trilateral moment.
Alongside our regional leaders were graced by the distinguished presence of the Gulf Cooperation Council GCC friends and partners from the Middle East, whose economic dynamism and diplomatic influence
Thank you.
echo across continents.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Excellencies. On behalf of the government and people of Malaysia and my comrades, ASEAN comrades, I am honored to welcome you to Kuala Lumpur for this historic ASEAN, GCC, and China summit. For the first time, ASEAN, the GCC, and China come together in this unique configuration. Three partners, each rich in history, civilization, culture, and shared aspirations. Three regions booming, fantastic achievements. GCC, now becoming center for financial strength, AI and digital, and of course, their core pillar, energy. China has transformed not only China, but also regional economy and the international scene with their capacity to embark and affect change and reform, gigantic strides in many areas. First, in terms of effective methods in battling the issue of poverty, very effective. And then, of course, in terms of their economic performance and excellence, and their performance in digitalization and AI and new technology. And ASEAN, of course, as I said and repeatedly said in many meetings, the friendly trust and working collaboration between countries is unrivaled. We work together, we think together, and from Vientiane last year and before that from Jakarta to Vientiane, now Malaysia next year, Manila. We focus on the core issues, fundamental issues, and we discuss and achieve this understanding. Because of that, we have registered peace, one of the most peaceful regions in the world, and fastest growing economy in the world. Now, the theme of this summit, synergizing economic opportunities towards shared prosperity, resonates deeply with Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship under the theme inclusivity and sustainability. Now, the ties between these three regions, GCC, ASEAN, and China, are deep and enduring. From the ancient Silk Road to the vibrant maritime networks of Southeast Asia to modern trade corridors, our peoples have long connected through commerce, culture, and sharing of ideas. We have Mecca and Medina, a center for millions of pilgrims. We have centers around Oman, which became the major trading route through the region. And of course, the other countries in the GCC. And historically here, centers such as Malacca exemplified this tradition, serving vital crossroads linking East and West. Today, ASEAN carries forward that legacy on a broader scale, emerging as a dynamic crossroads of global commerce, innovation, and opportunity. ASEAN's GDP reached $3.8 trillion, making it the world's fifth, some say fourth largest economy. That same year, 23, total trade with the GCC stood at $130.7 billion, which FDI inflows of $300.2 billion. China, meanwhile, remained ASEAN's largest trading partner with $700 billion in trade and $17.3 billion in FDI. This indicates the immense existing linkages as well as substantial untapped potential. ASEAN, GCC, and China collectively represent a combined GDP of $24.87 trillion and growing exponentially, with a population of approximately 2.15 billion and growing slowly. The collective scale offers vast opportunities to synergize our markets, deepen innovation, and promote cross-regional investment. I'm confident that ASEAN, GCC, and China can draw upon our unique attributes and shape a future that is more connected, more resilient, and more prosperous for generations to come. ASEAN has long demonstrated that regionalism, anchored in consensus, respect, and openness, can succeed. We have thrived in our long-standing partnership with the GCC and China. Today, we have the opportunity to enhance these ties. With this spirit of optimism and shared purpose, I look forward to a constructive and fruitful discussions today. Thank you. Now I invite His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Sabah, Crown Prince of the State of Kuwait, which is incidentally one of the first GCC countries who embark on massive investments into this region. And now, President of the current session of the Supreme Council of the GCC, to deliver his opening address. Thank you, Your Highness.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اخواني اصحاب السمو والمعالي، ممثلي قاده دول مجلس التعاون لدول الخليج العربيه، الاصدقاء اصحاب الفخامه قاده دول رابطه جنوب
you.